Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar series. My name is Jessica Wanjiko, and I'll be uh, the main guest. Yes, I'll be the main guest. I'll be the main guest. Yes, I'll be hosting us today. Right, so set up my lighting. Okay. Hoping this helps. Hopefully, I still have shadows. Welcome, everyone. In case you're new here, welcome. My name is Jessica Wanjiko, and I'll be doing an 8-week webinar series on food systems, different food systems that are available, like that have been documented and such. And so today we'll start with basically looking at what it means when I say food systems from farm to fork. What am I talking about? So basically, farm to fork means that you are looking to cover, you're looking at the origin of food, and you're looking at where food has originated and how it's been prepared until it reaches your plate. So I'm hoping my lighting is better now. Probably not really the best, but we'll do with that. Welcome everyone. Welcome Netbrog. Welcome Rosemary Machero and everyone else. In case you're new to um, how to use Nini, okay. In case you're new to using Facebook Live, uh, there's a chat section. There's a place it's written chat. There's a place it's written chat, and you can come and I'll give you a shout out if you have any question. Um, that's where you ask it also. And yeah, if you have any question, that's where you ask it. If you have anything that you would like to inquire, that's also where you ask it. So thank you for liking and sharing. Netbrock from Hong Kong. Hi. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for sharing. I'm trying to share it in my social groups so that we have more people joining us. Yeah. So so If you can like and share me out, I would really appreciate that. Like and share me out. I'd really appreciate it. So we are beginning this webinar series that will be running for the next um, 8 weeks. Today is day 1. Today is day 1 or week 1, and we'll be doing this each week. I'll alternate where we do it. We'll be here or we'll be on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Twitter Spaces. We will find the places to be at, but on socials mostly. This is mostly on our socials. And welcome. All right. So I have Faith, I have Machero and Netbrog from Hong Kong. I'm grateful for you being here and for sharing me out. All right. So here we are. Right. So I will be having guests moving forward with this. I have different guests who will be joining the panel today and moving on also. We'll have specialists in these areas and who will be coming to talk about different food systems. So this is like a action plan from what I have engaged in or been involved in over the last month since I resumed work. I'm still trying to get the best lighting. Keep wondering why it's not. This is better now. It's much better if only. Pardon me for the technicalities. My tripod doesn't seem to be working as I need a better one. Definitely need a better way to. Huh. Ah, I remember. I remember there's a time I was live streaming at Waterfront and my phone died, and a very kind lady bought me a power bank from the States. So it's here, at least this is working well. I don't need to put together resources to get myself a better ring light because this is not working. Something is not right. I have I should get better lighting. I don't know why it's not working. It normally does. But anyway, let's go straight into this. So, what I was saying is, I've been part of several high level meetings in the month of March. I attended the first Eastern African agroecological conference at where was this? Oh, that's it. Sometimes I'm getting it, sometimes it goes. So what had I done differently? I don't know. Something happened. My lighting was better and then it's not. So a little bit better. keep wondering whether this should be closer to my face or away from my face, because I feel it should be closer. But yet again, it's that's much better. Welcome everyone. I can't believe I took 10 minutes to set that up. I should have prepared earlier. So, but let's get right into it. So, this is a discussion whereby I'll be talking about different food systems, basically from farm to fork, and it should be less than an hour, starting now. So, Um, I'll be finishing a few minutes past 11. So, what are food systems? Thank you, Faith. It's much better now. So, uh, who is huh? Oh, okay. We have a way to protect such live streams against bots. So play grade 5 kindly. Don't overuse emojis, otherwise you will be banned from the chat. So welcome, play grade 5 and everyone else in the chat or watching this at a later time. As I said, my name is Jessica Wanjiko. I'm the lead nutritionist at Malkia Nutrition, and we'll be having a webinar series where we'll be talking about food systems. Basically, anything about food, I'm in. As in, I enjoy talking about food, be it through conferences, summits, get-togethers, anything. I'll talk about food. So this week, we'll start by introducing what are food systems, how do they affect us, where does our food come from? Because that's the major thing. Can you trace where the food on your plate comes from? If you can't, then you're you're missing out on something. You need to know where your food is coming from. Is it safe? Is it nutritious? Does it have all the nutrients that your body requires? And um, how better can you uh, just a minute. How better can you go about ensuring that your food is safe, that you're doing the best that you can in terms of promoting your nutrition status, also in terms of just a minute, ensuring that your children are well fed, your parents are well fed, everyone is basically well fed. So that's what we are going to be discussing today. And I've seen that the number of people on the live stream is increasing. Welcome, everyone. We will find, when I say we, I mean Malkia Nutrition, will find the best way to be holding this webinar series, be they on YouTube, on Facebook Live, Twitter Spaces, Zoom, like a Zoom call, Meetup. We are iterating as we go. So this is one of the platforms that I mainly enjoy because it records and goes out soon after I'm done with the live stream. So this is something that can be rewatched, and I don't necessarily have to like edit or put a lot of effort into putting it out there. So because when you have too much content, it also creates a backlog. So let me tell you a little bit about Malkia Nutrition. So Malkia Nutrition, we consult on nutrition issues, be different lifestyle diseases, issues of malnutrition, childhood obesity, childhood malnutrition. So we look at all these things that pertain to human nutrition. So that's one thing that we do. The other thing that we do is that we look at how food is grown, and we are practicing organic farming, training farmers, and looking to educate people that they need to know what kind of food is on their plates. Is it something that you can trace that is organically grown, or um, is it synthetically grown? So shout out to those joining us. Thank you, Emma Tower. You can type in the if you type in the chat, I will be able to see your questions in your chat. So I enjoy using this platform. It's much easier when I'm doing my live streams. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Play Great. So let's get right into it. So when I talk about food system, farm to fork, what am I talking about? So this is how your food is grown, processed, value added, value addition until it reaches the end consumer, who is the uh, when it is now on your plate. So for me, um, I look at it from this point. I'm a farmer. So how am I growing my food? How am I cooking it? Is it processed until it reaches my plate? I've also been privileged to work in different food industries before I started my practice. So in 2019, I worked in several food industries, including Farmer's Choice, where they process pork and pork products, as well as beef and beef products, chicken also, and turkey. So it's a meat processing or meat handling company. That is Farmer's Choice. I went to Unga. Unga, they handle cereals. So they deal with cereals and products that are developed from cereals. So that is maize, beans, green grams, kamande, lentils. They also do animal products. They also do bake. Yes, there's also a bakery section that there's a bakery section that deals now with more value addition on their products. So that was my second attachment. And the third one, I went to True Foods. True Foods deals with the pulps like jams, tomato sauce, and what do you call them? Uh, Icing sugar, baking powder. There's so many things that they also processed. So you can check them out. Actually, I know I have people nutritionists here who are looking for employment opportunities. So you don't have to limit yourself to consulting as a nutritionist. You can go to the food industries and also practice as a food quality officer or um, food safety officer. So food quality and food safety are very key. Um, so so that's what I did in 2019. And towards the end of the year, that's when we launched Malkia Nutrition. So Malkia Nutrition turned 3 years last year. This is our fourth operating year. Pre-COVID, yes, we started pre-COVID, but were greatly affected by the COVID period because most of our physical operations were stopped, and we had to iterate and quickly pivot to online platforms, or now what we are calling composite, where we can have a physical training or session, but which is being live streamed on YouTube or any of the other social media platforms. So if you're here and you are from my group that is soon going to be meeting with you for interviews so that you can come on board Malkia Nutrition, you need to be tech savvy. You need to know how to put out content and how to create and put out content out there. So yeah, Malkia Nutrition has a lot of things that we do. And so qualified qualification qualifying to be among our staff takes time. It's a process that takes time, but we are working on it. So now back to food systems. So I said I worked in food industries. That's one way that you can learn about food, is by being in the food industry. So the other way is by being in the farm with the farmers, and that's what I'm doing this year, 2023. I'm going to the farms to meet with farmers, see how they grow their food, what chemicals or what inputs they use to grow their food, I'm really advocating for organic farming. So the inputs have to be chemical free from chemical residues. Okay, things that can precipitate on the food. So that's what I'm aiming at. That's what I'm aiming at for this year 2023. And that's what we are doing this year. More about organic farming and organic food production. So if you know where your food comes from, it is easy for you to know how to go about cooking it, how to go about processing it, and so forth and so on. So I'll be inviting a guest today whom will be on the panel with, who is my fellow nutritionist and also a farmer. And she'll give us more insight about understanding or being able to trace where your food is coming from. Because it's very necessary, very important that you are able to trace where food is sourced, where food is coming from, that is landing on your plate. So continue networking on the chat as I get our guests ready and set up. As I get our guests ready and set up. So right. So welcome if you're just joining us. Hmm. Right. So do like and share out this video. It goes a long way to getting it to the right people. Okay. So food systems is whereby you're able to know I grew my food or it was grown at a certain farm and now this is how it's being processed or how it has been processed, and this is how I have cooked it, this is how I have served it or plated it, and this is how I'm consuming it together with if it is, say for example, if you're eating vegetables, this is how I'm serving it alongside ugali or alongside some rice or mashed potatoes, chapati, or anything, along also with your proteins, be they animal proteins or plant proteins. So it's a composite analysis of the whole food system, where it's been sourced, how it's been processed, how it's been cooked, and how it is now being consumed, like how it in what combination it is being consumed. So um, right. So, for example, now that we are advocating for organic farming, why are we advocating for organic farming? It's because we have realized there's a need to change how food is cultivated, how food is grown with minimal chemical inputs. Because so how it's being processed, how it's being cooked and served. So, for example, when food is grown conventionally, there are lots of pesticide or chemical inputs, be they pesticide, fertilizers, so forth and so on. There are lots that go into nurturing that crop when it is conventionally grown. But when it is when it is farmed with natural inputs or as much natural inputs as possible, there is reduced chemical residues that remain on the crop when it is ready. That is the food produce, or the product, that the end product is free from chemical residue, and that is what we want right now, because those chemical residues have been shown to precipitate, and they have been shown to precipitate and leave a lot of cause a lot of issues or effects on the human body. So what we want is for people to consume food that is safe and continue to live a healthy life. So there's a whole value chain that we need to look at to ensure that the food that we are consuming is safe, the food that we are consuming is nutritious, and it is meeting our daily needs in the body, because we have recommended daily allowances of every nutrient that we consume from food, and that's what we are looking at. We're looking to make sure that the food we consume is safe and uh, nourishing to our bodies. So organic farming is very important because that is a food system by itself. Organic farming is a food system by itself. But we have other types like regenerative farming, climate smart, and so many other different food systems that we can talk about, that we can look into. And all this information is available in public spaces, where on public websites it's available. You can check it out. You can learn a lot about how to start your own kitchen garden, how to go about growing your own food, because it's very important that we are able to grow our own food continuously, like for a long period, not just it needs to be sustainable for a long period, because if it's not, you find that you find that you are lacking a lot. You're losing out a lot in many ways, or many situations or circumstances. So how your food is grown is very important, and this is the beginning. Because so we will look at food processing by itself. We look at cooking by itself, and even how the food combinations by themselves. So as we start looking at how the food is grown, how the food is nurtured in the farm, what kind of nutrition is the crop getting from the soil? Is it adequate? Is it suffering from pests? Is it lacking in any way? So you find that when your food is well nurtured, it tends to grow and flourish, or become well. No, it is a strong crop by itself. It's a strong crop, and just a minute. I have a guest here. Right. So my guest is here. I'll call upon her at some point. Just let her settle in and get comfortable. So how do we ensure that the soil is well like the soil itself, it's having all the biomass, all the things that it needs for this crop to grow best? Because most of our soils are depleted. They have no nutrients. They are compacted and dry, and they don't even um get water to seep through them as it naturally should. Water doesn't seep through the soil as it naturally should. If it is, if the soil is compacted, water will run off. And when this water runs off, it runs off with a lot of minerals and nutrients that are needed for the crop. So we need to we need to have soil by itself. We need to have the soil in the best condition possible. We need to have it to have biomass. We need it to have the insects that crawl through, that the helpful insects, the helpful what do you call them, spores. The biosphere of the soil needs to be very healthy in each and every way. So how do we do that? One of the ways we do this is by feeding the soil. Conventionally, we feed the soil using chemical fertilizers, foliars, and the like. But in the organic farming uh, system, or the technologies that we apply, one is having the soil enriched with a lot of compost, such that you have your soil mixed in with well decomposed organic matter. That's what we call compost. It could be well decomposed animal manure, it could be well decomposed plant matter. That when I say well decomposed, means that it has stayed at a certain place for 30 days or more. So you find, if it's you're creating a compost pit or pile, when you're creating a compost pile, you ensure that that matter has decomposed for more than 30 days. When it's being turned regularly to allow for aeration, when it's being turned to allow for proper decomposition. So for something to decompose, it needs air, it needs some microorganism acting on that material such that it breaks down, and at the end of the day, it's ready for the soil to absorb or utilize it, uh, to utilize the nutrients from the soil, from that decomposed matter. So that's what I mean when I talk about soil health. It needs to be as healthy as it can be. So one of the ways, as I said, is composting. And composting, for example, when you're making a compost heap, you add dry matter, you add green matter, you add either a sort of animal manure. It could be cow manure, goat manure, chicken, rabbit, anything, any animal that you can get. Carbol, you add a layer of that. Then you add a layer of ash, you add a layer of soil, and then you repeat that, all that, you do that again, like you repeat the layers again. That way, when that matter decomposes over a period of 30 to 45 days, what you will get is a very rich compost with the right nitrogen levels, with the right calcium levels, with the right biomass to help the soil also to retain water. So that's what we are looking at when we are talking about the soil. How have you farmed the crop? How have you nurtured the crop to make sure that the produce will be healthy, it will be nutritious, it will have all the nutrients that are required, and it will not even be affected by pests due the growth process. So with me here, I have Dorcas Asianot. Asianot is a fellow nutritionist. We're actually working together and collaborating on different projects, reaching out to farmers, reaching out to schools, looking at obesity among children. So Dorcas, if you're, I think you're now more settled, and you can unmute and come on screen. Dorcas, if you're there. As she does that, I will give a shout out to Christine Mutinda. We also have Yvonne Masiko, who is joining us. We had Play Great joining us from Hong Kong. Yes, from Hong Kong. We have Emma Tower joining us from Kenya, I believe. And Faith Mwikali as well as was it Rosemary Muchero. Yes, welcome everyone. Dorcas, if you can hear me, maybe you can unmute and come on camera, on screen. If you're not ready yet, I can go ahead.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi, Dorcas, welcome.
Thank you.
So you can introduce yourself to my audience, and then we will just, oh my, time is moving really fast. But go ahead, Dorcas, introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about DAO and what you're doing as a consulting nutritionist.
Hi everyone. I'm glad
Hi.
to be part of this meeting today. Asianut Dorcas, licensed nutritionist. I do consultancy in nutrition. Mainly we deal with nutrition screening, diet planning, also meal plans for the family. We also do the mental health assessment and exercise plans for individuals. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Dorcas. Something else that she has forgotten to mention is that she's a prolific farmer. Yeah, and today we're talking about the farm to fork food system. So Dorcas grows food. So tell us, what do you grow and how do you grow it?
Mainly, I've been dealing with large scale production of maize, but also I do kitchen gardening where I have the vegetables that I consume at home and also the herbs like we have the hibiscus. Majorly in my farming journey, I've always been maximizing the use of manure, which we collect from animals at home. So that is what we use mainly on our farms for food production. And also in the kitchen gardening, we utilize the available resources, the food waste that we collect from our food, especially the green matter, the vegetables, which are also good in producing the organic manure. Thank you.
All right. So I think, okay, tell us something else. How long have you been doing the large scale production, and how long have you been doing the garden at your place, for the herbs and the onions and stuff? Hopefully, the next meeting that we set up, you will be able to turn your camera and show us exactly what is growing on your kitchen windowsill or outside in your kitchen garden. So tell us more. How long have you been doing it?
With kitchen gardening, I started long ago when I was still a young girl in my mother's home. That is something that I've grown up seeing my parents do. And I being interested also in farming and also having the nutritional knowledge of being cautious on what I need to eat. It's something that I embraced, helping my parents and also practicing when I got to my own place, my own house. And in Nairobi, someone can tell you it is difficult to practice, but I've always challenged my friends and colleagues that you can even use a balcony to do kitchen gardening, which I did, and some were surprised by getting containers and also sacks that you're not using. That is something that I've tried to employ. That was the last 1 year before I moved. Yeah, there are some houses which will not have the balcony to allow you, but when I moved to another one which I didn't have the balcony, still I utilized the space that I had. I was sharing with Jessica and telling her that I plant onions on my window. One time my neighbor passed and was like, "Hey, your window is all green." And I'm like, "Yeah, that is what I feed on. I plant my onions in water and I take them." So it's something that you are not limited whenever you are. So you can practice it anywhere, anytime. Thank you.
All right. So you mentioned we talked about balcony farming, and that's also something that I have done for the last 3 years, I think, before we moved to this current residence where we have more space. So I've been doing balcony farming, growing strawberries, growing onions, So many things. Yes, I have recorded my journey. I record most of the things that I do on this YouTube channel. If you're here, you can look at the playlist written Organic Farming with Jessica John, and you will see all the interesting journey, failures, and learnings that I have experienced as a balcony farmer, as an organic farmer, as an urban farmer. Actually, that's how I got to do the first summit with Shamba Jijini, where because they were interested in what I was doing on my balcony. And Shamba Jijini, in case there's someone here who doesn't get it, means farming in the urban, in the city, literally, because Shamba is farm and Jijini is city, so it's farming in the city. So how can you farm in the city even when you don't have adequate space? You don't have even that balcony. You don't have much space, so you can do, as she said, sacks and containers, or even hydroponics. Most of these things will sprout and do well with the water. Of course, this water is changed regularly, because the thing is, with something like onion or seeds like chia and wheat, they only require water, air, and some nutrition to germinate or to sprout. And when you keep changing the water, you're supplying that plant with the needed nutrients, so it will still thrive. So people need to understand these farming systems. Hydroponics is a very easy and to implement, because you just need a glass. I don't know, how do you grow the onions yourself, Dorcas? Is it in a glass plate?
Personally, I use the containers, mostly the plastic bottles for water,
Mhm.
and for the juices, I just cut on the top, others I cut on the side. Hopefully next time I'll be able to show us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Dorcas also has a YouTube channel. I will share the link, or yeah, I'll share the link after this live stream, or I can try and see if I get it even as she continues talking. So there's a way you catch the water bottle. The top part goes into the water, and then you place the onion there. That's the system that you, yeah. So you can learn a lot through YouTube. You can try your own uh, farming in the balcony or in your windowsill, hang containers in your house. There, you also know what plant can grow well indoors and what can grow outdoors properly, because something like a strawberry will do well, a cactus will do well indoors, aloe vera will do well indoors. It's actually even recommended. So knowing how you to grow this food, knowing how to get the food from whatever farm you have. It could be that small water bottle, that's your farm, it's your garden. It could be a big field, 2 acres, 3 acres out there, where you're growing your own food. But you need to understand what journey has this food taken from the farm to my plate, to the fork or spoon or whatever, your hands. When I say fork, it's a little bit, I'm not being biased. It's just a way, it rhymes, first of all, and it's just a way to show that this is where you are now consuming the food. So, Dorcas, what challenges have you faced in your farming journey, both as a large scale farmer and as a small scale balcony micro farmer on your balcony?
Personally, the most challenge, especially when you do the balcony farming, kids in the estate will come around and think you're doing it for fun, so they'll play with your products. Yeah, so you need to be a little bit strict and tell them the importance. It's also an opportunity to teach them what they need to inculcate even as they grow up, because these are some of the things we need to instill in our children even when they are still young, so that when they grow up, we don't have to struggle instilling knowledge in them. As large scale, sometimes it's expensive, I must say. You need to have money to be a farmer. Yeah, getting the
True,
seed,
true.
preparing the manure, paying the laborers, it's quite cumbersome, but it's productive. Yeah, so those are the main challenges so far.
Right, right. So farming, especially in large scale, can be expensive because you need farming inputs. You need people to do the farming, the laborers, or the farm hands who will do the work, literally, who will do the work of planting, taking care of the crop, nurturing, and all that. But I know you practice organic farming even on a large scale. Can you say it's a little bit more affordable in comparison to conventional farming inputs?
On my end, it's a bit affordable, comparing the fact that the manure, we prepare it from the wastes from the animals, which we rear at home. So you don't have to go and buy it from someone else. So it's doable. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So you can say organic farming compared to other conventional systems of farming is cheaper in terms of the inputs, but yet again, it also takes a lot of commitment and dedication, because this compost has to be taken to the farm and distributed in the right way, and also incorporated to the soil. I know when is your farming rain dependent or not necessarily? The large scale
Sorry?
one. Is it rain dependent? Do you depend on rain and like all through the season?
On large scale, we are lucky to be having a conventional weather, so rain is always there. So that one we don't have to to get the expense of adding water on the farm. Yeah. But the small
Yes.
scale, of course, you will use the water in your house. Yeah.
You recycle. So you are incorporating a lot of things in your farming journey, because I'm sure you recycle your gray water, or it also takes very little water when you're doing it, if the plants are indoor and they're not exposed to so many elements that will lead to evaporation and the like. So yeah, I hope those who are here have gotten the point. When you practicing organic farming, which is a type of food system, it's more affordable to do it when your inputs are organically prepared or natural. For example, if it's compost, if it's plant teas, biofoliars for the crops, biopesticides to control pests, so it's somehow more affordable to do it organically as opposed to the conventional methods. So just to give a case in point is that, for example, right now the fertilizer a kilo is retailing at 140, some places even 170 per kilo. That's the one that you get from an agrovet. Okay, not from I mean like the normal what is it called, CAN and DAP and all those. They are retailing between 140 shillings and 170 shillings. But for compost and bokashi and all these other organic fertilizer, a kilo is going for about 60 to 65, 70 at most. So you can see there's a whole 100 shillings difference between using organic fertilizers as opposed to using synthetic fertilizers. So I can say for sure organic farming or organic food system is much more affordable as opposed to the conventional systems. So now that this food is grown, and what would you say in terms of the nutritive content of food that is organically grown as opposed to conventionally grown? I know this is a tight debate. There might not be very huge disparities in terms of content, nutrition content, but do you think there is something that is better or more present in organically grown food as opposed to conventionally grown food?
I would say first, the organically grown food is safe for human consumption, unlike the other methods of food growing, because you find when you grow your food organically, you don't have to use chemicals in killing pests. You will use food or food formulations as an alternative, which will help even in addition of nutrients and keeping your food safer. The other bit, when you grow organically, I wouldn't say nutritional bit, but it's not very much. What is the right word? I'm looking for the right word. The difference is not that large, but the presence of pesticides, herbicides, and exposure to other non-food compounds on the other method of food growing, it exposes your food maybe to some nutrients being unavailable due to the introduction of the phytochemicals, which may end up binding other nutrients and they won't be available even in your food. So when you look at the bioavailability of nutrients in organically grown foods, I would say that one is higher compared to the other conventional farming methods. Yeah.
Right, that's true. The food is safe because it doesn't have the chemical residues, as well as the bioavailability of the nutrients from the food would be easier in the body. Anyone who is here who might not understand that huge term, basically what Dorcas is saying that is that the body will be able to absorb the nutrients faster and easily when it is organically grown as opposed to when it is conventionally grown. It's a debate that we'll have to do a lot of chemical analysis to show you, but it's something that you can say for sure. Also, something else is that the food that is organically grown is a little bit more filling. Yeah, it is a little bit more filling. Also, the varieties that you grow, for example, someone might grow cassava or sweet potato or yams in the same maize field, because some of these farming systems call for diversity of the crops being grown. So when it is grown like that, you find that you're not necessarily relying on maize as the main staple. You have other alternatives, and when that combination comes into play, you find that food is more satisfying and more filling. That means you can go for longer, you can feel fuller for a longer period, as opposed to those who have just taken one food type, and especially when that food had been processed in the food factory and most of the important ingredient is removed from that food. So yeah, there are a lot of things that we need to talk about when you talk about the food systems. And as I said, this is a webinar series that will continue. We will alternate between having it on YouTube, whether Facebook, Twitter Spaces, as well as alternating it between our channels. Dorcas is a colleague and we are working together. And as I said, she has a channel. Kindly check it out at Dorcas Asianaut 3371. Do check it out, and we'll alternate so that we bring my audience to her channel and her audience to my channel as well, as we grow together. So we are almost coming to the end of this, Dorcas. And thank you so much for joining me. So what else would you tell someone who is there trying to decide, do I do it conventionally, do I do it organically? What would you tell them? What would be your advice?
My advice would be, first of all, do you love yourself? If you do, then organic is the way to go. Yeah, there's no two way about it. Yeah, from our farm to our fork, when you look at the safety, the same way we are always keen on, have I added weight? Have I lost weight? Am I doing exercise? Let also be keen with what we are planting and also what we are eating. Thank you.
Right. So food, how we are growing this food is just as important as the effort we put towards working towards buying it. It's something that a quote that I've learned lately, that if we put as much effort towards growing our own food as we put towards buying that now processed food, we would be far much better. Again, a case in point, not mentioning any brand, but if we put as much effort towards saving up for that pizza night, saving up for that burger, whatever, if we had put as much time and effort towards it, that money and time converted towards growing your own food, be it on your balcony, that means you're taking time to prepare those bottles, hang the flowers or any other crop in your house. You getting me? Like the time you take to go out and buy that pizza and the money invested in that, if it were converted towards growing your own food, we would be very, very at a very different point now, because you find that someone spends 1,000 shillings and maybe 2 or 3 hours to eat something that is not even as satisfying. It is sweet, but it's not as filling, and that feeling of satiety doesn't last for long. If we had someone invest that same time and money towards growing their own food, we would be at a very different position right now. All right, so thank you so much, Dorcas, for coming on board and sharing your experience, your sharing your learnings. Also, because it's been a learning journey, growing your food in large scale and growing your balcony, food on your balcony, different products and different things. Tell us just a little bit more about what varieties do you have on your windowsill and balcony.
Currently, I only have the onions, but I'm planning on increasing the variety because I've been limited a bit. I was doing some reshuffling around and also organizing the place. So next time I will have a lot to
Awesome,
display.
awesome, awesome, awesome. So uh, we will do this. This is the first of many. We will do it for the next 8 weeks. I know we had discussed this, but we didn't conclude it. But I am putting time and effort towards having it on a continual basis. We will be putting out the information in time, because this didn't go out in time, but we are grateful for the ones who have joined us this morning for this lively discussion. And we do look forward to having the next one, which the next one will still be on this channel or on Dorcas's channel before we go to Twitter Spaces and Facebook and whatnot. So thank you so much for joining us. Dorcas, remind them your details, your spaces, how they can reach you. Just share out your platforms again.
On YouTube, I'm Dorcas Asianut. On Instagram, Dorcas Asianut. On Facebook, Dorcas Asianut. Yeah.
Awesome.
Search
Awesome.
out Dorcas Asianut or DAO Nutrition Consultancy. You will find me. Thank you.
All right. Physically, where can they book an appointment if they want to? Do you do online consultations? Tell us a little more about your consultancy, where they can reach you for consultancy.
On consultancy, you can reach us online, and for physical visits, reach us at Westlands Occidental Plaza, second floor. That's where we are located.
Awesome. So yeah, we are working with Dorcas and co-sharing the space at Westlands, and also you can reach her on her channel, request for an appointment directly. I'm sure she will be very prompt to respond to you. Yes. So that's about it. Rosemary Mushero is saying thank you for the interesting ways of doing kitchen gardening. I'm sure she's looking forward to the next one where you will actually show us how you're growing the onions in your kitchen, or you can do a video, record it and share it out on your channel, and I will also share it out on my YouTube community for people to see. So that's about it. It's now 11. I'd say this would be a short and sweet session because of the time constraint, and because it's still a working day. We have other commitments to do, but we love creating knowledge. We love educating people about different aspects of nutrition, different aspects of food, farming it and consuming it, and we'll continue doing this over the next coming weeks. So stay tuned, stick around, and see you next week. God bless you all.
Thank you.